Good day, everyone. This is Jenny's fashion channel. Thanks to all my amazing fans and subscribers. This channel is all about leveling up on your fashion designing skill. And today, I'm going to teach you how to cut female knicker with fly zipper and pockets. So if it is warrior all about, you are definitely at the right place. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, now will be a very good time for you to smash on the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time I upload a new video. Without further ado, let's jump right in, shall we? The first thing is to draw a line as my baseline, which will also serve as my waistline. And I'm going to draw a vertical line here to serve as a guide for taking my measurement. Then I'm going to come down from the waistline by 9 inches for my hip line. I will mark and I'm going to draw the line. The next thing is to get my crotch line. And for me to get my crotch line, I'm going to take 1/4 of my hip measurement divided by 4. That's my hip measurement divide by 4 again, or my hip measurement divide by 8. And the hip measurement I am working with is 40 inches. If I divide it by 4, it will give me 10 inches. If I divide that 10 by 4 again, it will give me 2.5 inches. That's 1/4 of my hip measurement divided by 4. Then I'm going to mark it and I will draw the line. Then I'm going to take my hip measurement divided by 4. I will mark it on the hip line, mark the same thing on the crotch line and my waistline. Then I'm going to connect with a straight ruler like so. Then the next thing is to get my crotch extension. And for me to get my crotch extension, I'm going to take my hip measurement divide by 4 again, or my hip measurement divide by 8, or I take the difference between the hip line and crotch line, and I have 2.5 inches there, so I'm going to come out from those points by 2.5 inches. I will mark it. Then from those points, I'm going to go up by 1.5 inches diagonally. I will mark it. Then from this my hip line, I'm going to go out by 1/4 of an inch. I will mark it. Then I'm going to connect like so. This is to make sure that we don't have deep crotch, okay? Then the next thing is to get my tie line. And for me to get my tie line, I'm going to come down by 3 inches from the crotch line. But if of a bigger size, you come down by 4 inches. I will mark it and I'm going to draw the line. Then for the full knicker length, I'm using 19 inches, okay? You can use any length of your choice, okay? I will add 2 inches for hemming allowance. I will mark and I'm going to draw the lines. Then the next thing is to get the knicker green line or the center line, okay? So I'm going to measure this my crotch line from those points to the crotch extension point, okay? And I have 12.5 inches there. So I'm going to get the midpoint of it. I will mark it and I'm going to connect it straight down and up like so. Then the next thing is to get my waist measurement divided by 4, and the waist measurement I am working with is 32 inches. If it is being divided by 4, it will give me 8 inches. Then I'm going to add 1 inch for that because I'm going to put 1 inch that there. Then I will mark it. Then from this my hip point, I'm going to go up by 1 inch and go down by 1 inch. I will mark it like so. This is to make sure that we get a perfect curve for the hip, okay? Then I'm going to connect this my waist point to the first 1 inch I went up with from the hip line. Are we there? Then the next thing is to get my tie measurement divided by 2. And the tie measurement I am working with is 24 inches. If it is being divided by 2, it will give me 12 inches. So the midpoint of that 12 inches will be 6 inches. So I'm going to make sure that my green line is on 6 inches. That's I'm going to place my tape like so, making sure that 6 inches on the tape is on the green line. Then I'm going to mark like so, making sure that those point is on 12 inches away on the same page. Then I'm going to mark the same thing on the full neckline length, okay? Then I'm going to connect the second 1 inch. I went down from the hip line to the thigh line like so. Then I'm going to use my curve ruler to connect that 1 inch. I went down from the hip line to that 1 inch. I went up from the hip line like so to get a perfect hip curve. Then I'm going to connect the thigh line straight down to the hemming allowance line like so. Then on those side, I'm going to connect the thigh line straight down to the hemming allowance line like so. Then I'm going to use my curve ruler to connect this my thigh line to the crotch line like so. If you want it to be a bit pencil, you go in on this full neckline length, okay, by 1/4 of an inch. As for me, I don't want it pencil. I want it straight and free, okay? Then from the waistline, I'm going to come down by 1.5 inches for the band, okay? I'm going to take out 1.5 inches for the band. I will mark and I'm going to draw the line. Then for the dart, my dart will fall on this green line. So from those points, I will go in by 1/2 an inch and go out by 1/2 an inch to form the dart. Then I'm going to come down by 3.5 inches, okay? That will be the length of my dart. You can use 4 inches. I will mark and I'm going to connect like so. Then I will go ahead and add 1/2 an inch joining allowance on the 2 sides and I will connect my markings. Then for the zipper fly, I'm going to go out from those points, not from joining allowance line. From this point, I will go out by 2 inches, okay, for my zipper fly. Actually, it's supposed to be 1.5 inches, but I put in consideration my joining allowance. So I'm going to mark and I'm going to connect like so. Then from those points, I'm going to give it that curve you normally see on trouser or knicker, okay? So guys, that's it. You can see how perfect it looks. I still have 1 or 2 things to do on the waist of the knicker, but I want to cut it out, okay, to enable me work on the back panel so it's not going to confuse you guys. So once I'm done with the back panel, I'll come back and finish the rest. So guys, follow me closely. Let's cut. So guys, you can see how beautiful it looks already when I move on to the back panel. I'm going to place the front part on top of the pattern paper for the back panel, okay? So the first thing is to trace out the crotch line and the waistline. Then on the crotch line, I'm going to extend it by 2 inches, okay? I'm taking my measurement from the main line, not from the joining allowance line, okay? So I'm going to mark 2 inches, though this purely depends on the size of your butt. You can use 2.5 inches or even 3 inches if you're of a large size, okay? And you can use 1.5 inches if you're of a small size, okay? Then I'm going to get the midpoint of this my waistline. You can see where I place my tape from the waistline, not from the joining allowance line, to the first leg of the dart, okay? I'm going to get the midpoint of it, okay? And I have 3 inches, so the midpoint will give me 1.5 inches. I will mark it there. Then from that point, I'm going to go up by 1.5 inches, okay? I will mark it. Then from those points, I'm going to go up diagonally by 2 inches. I will mark it. Then I'm going to get the midpoint of this my waistline and hip line, okay? Then I'm going to mark it. Then I will replicate the same mark on the back pattern paper, okay, making sure that it is on the same point, okay? Then from this point, I will still go down by 1/2 an inch. This is to make sure that we get a perfect curve for the back panel. Then I'm going to connect these 4 points like so. Then I will still place the front panel, okay, on the back panel, making sure that the crotch line and the waistline align properly, okay, to get the rest of the measurement. Then I'm going to measure this my front panel waistline, and I have 9 inches there. So on the back part, I will still get the same 9 inches for the waistline, placing my tape like so, okay? You can see what I'm doing, okay? I'll place my tape like so, making sure that this is on 9, then I'll mark it. And I'm going to connect like so. Then I'm going to add 1 inch on the hip line, okay? I'm not taking the measurement from the joining allowance. You can see where my tape is from the main hip line, okay? Then I will mark it, and I'm going to mark the same 1 inch on the crotch line. Then I'm going to connect the waistline to the hip line just the same way we did on the front part of the dress, stepping up by 1 inch from the hip line, okay? Then stepping down by 1 inch from the hip line. Then I'm going to connect that 1 inch down from the hip line to the crotch line, okay? Then I'll connect the crotch line to the hemming allowance line like so. Remember that we didn't add anything on the tie line on the hemming allowance line. We only added 1 inch on the hip line and the crotch line. Are we on the same page? Then I'm going to use my curve ruler to blend this my hip point, okay, to get a perfect hip curve. Then on this side, I'm going to connect the crotch line to the tie line like so, and connect the tie line straight down to the joining allowance line like so. And I will trace out the length of the neck. Of course, you know is of the same length with the front panel. Then the next thing is to get a depth for the back panel. So I'm going to measure the front panel to know where I have the dot there. So I have it at 4 inches. So I'm going to mark 4 inches here. Then from those points, I'm going to go down by 4.5 inches, okay, for the dot. That's where the dot will stop. Then I will mark and I will connect like so, making sure that my line is on parallel with the crotch line, okay? Then from this point, I'm going to go in by 1/2 inch and go out by 1/2 inch. Then I'm going to connect like so. Then I'm going to add 1/2 inch joining allowance on the two sides. I will connect my markings. I will add 1/2 inch joining allowance on the waistline, and I will connect my markings. I will extend this down straight up to it like so. So guys, this is it for the back panel. I'll now go ahead and cut. Now that I'm done with the back panel, I'm going to add more pattern paper on the waist part of the front panel, okay? I told you guys that I have 1 or 2 things to do there, okay? Then I will add pattern paper as you can see me do. Then from this point, I will go down by 1/2 inch. I will mark and I'm going to connect to the other end of the waistline. Then I will add 1/2 inch for joining allowance. And I will connect like so. Then I will cut. So guys, that's our side, okay? Then for the pocket, I will fold my pattern paper, okay? And I'm using 7 inches for the width of the pocket and 9 inches for the depth of the pocket. And I'm going to connect like so. Then from those points, I will go up by 1.5 inches diagonally. I will mark and I'm going to connect like so to give it that shape you normally see on pockets. Then I will cut. Then I'm going to place my pocket, okay, under the necker like so, okay, making sure that this part that is not unfold is on the edge of the waistline, okay? Then from this point, I'm going to go in by 2 inches. I will mark it. And I'm going to go down, okay, by 7 inches. I will mark it. Then I'm going to connect like so. Then I will add 1/2 inch joining allowance like so. I will connect, okay? Then if I want to cut, I'm not going to cut the two pieces, okay, of the pocket. You know, we have two pieces there. I'm going to cut only the one that is facing the neck, okay? So I'm going to hold it like this, okay, to make sure that the one under, okay, is not cut. Then I'm going to cut. So guys, this is just it. You can see how beautiful it came out, okay? Then for the waistband, I'm going to measure the waistline, okay, of the necker. And I have 9 inches for the front panel and 9 inches for the back panel. But you know, if you are cutting the band, we have to exclude the dart. So I have to close this dart like so. So minus that half inch for the dart, I will have 8 inches for the front panel and 8 inches for the back panel. So altogether I have 16 inches, okay? That's 16 inches while unfold. If I open it, that's if I unfold it, I will have 32 inches, okay? So I'm going to draw a line like so as my baseline. Then for the width of the band, I will mark 16 inches as we calculated. Then for the length of the band, okay, we are using 1.5 inches. Remember that we removed 1.5 inches from the waist, okay? So that is what we are going to use as the length of the band. Then I'm going to add 1 inch, okay, for joining, because I will use half an inch to join the upper part and half an inch to join the down part. Then I will mark and draw the line. Then for the overlap, I am using 2 inches, okay? Then I have to add half an inch for joining allowance. I will mark and I'm going to connect like so. Sorry, I didn't realize that my camera went off, but this is the overlap. I used 2 inches plus half an inch for joining allowance, okay? It is that simple. So guys, that's it. And this is all I have for you for today. If you find this tutorial helpful, please subscribe, comment, like and share. See you in my next video. Bye.